Wrong Turn 3, Left for Dead, 2009, begins with an exhilarating river rafting trip gone awry for a group of young friends including Alex and Trey. As they set up camp by the Bluefish River, they indulge in drinks and casual conversations about relationships. The atmosphere turns sinister when they are ambushed by Three Finger, a grotesque mutant. In a horrific attack, Trey is brutally murdered, leaving Alex to flee for her life into the surrounding woods. The film shifts focus to Nate, a correctional officer on his final shift at Grafton Penitentiary before heading off to law school. Nate's assignment involves supervising a covert transfer of prisoners to Hazleton, a procedure designed to thwart any possible escape attempts. Among the inmates are Carlo Chavez, a violent gang leader, Floyd, a racist criminal, Crawford, a car thief, and Brandon, an ex-soldier with a manslaughter conviction. U.S. Marshal Juarez, disguised as a prisoner, is on board to gather intelligence regarding the inmates. As the transfer proceeds through the night, catastrophe strikes when a truck careens onto the road, causing the bus to crash. The crash injures several guards and prisoners, leading to chaos as Three Finger suddenly appears, unleashing a reign of terror. Seizing the moment, Chavez kills a guard and claims his weapon, asserting dominance over the surviving prisoners including Nate and Juarez, who are forced to follow him deeper into the woods. The mutant killer relentlessly hunts them, setting deadly traps along their path. As they venture further into the forest, the group's dynamics shift under the pressure of Chavez's leadership and the looming threat of Three Finger. They stumble upon an abandoned armored truck filled with cash, prompting Chavez to force the group to carry their share of the money despite the growing peril. Tensions flare as threats from both the mutant and each other rise, leading to another brutal death at the hands of Three Finger. In a desperate attempt for survival, the group discovers a fire watchtower where Nate hopes to find a radio to call for assistance. However, their hopes are dashed when they realize the tower has been burned down, leaving them disoriented and stranded in the woods. As the night deepens and Three Finger continues his relentless pursuit, the remaining group faces an uphill battle for survival against both the mutant and their own misunderstandings. The fight for life unfolds in a nightmarish landscape where trust runs thin and danger lurks at every turn. In the gripping horror film The River Rafting Slaughter, the story begins with Alex and her friends on an adventurous rafting trip down the Bluefish River in the heart of the West Virginia wilderness. Their journey takes a dark turn when they make an impulsive decision to camp overnight. Amidst drinking and partying, the atmosphere shifts when a girl playfully exposes herself to tease her boyfriend. Meanwhile, Alex senses something amiss and ventures into the woods to locate her missing friend Trey. It is during this search that Three Finger, a terrifying cannibal mutant, emerges from the shadows and launches a brutal assault on the group. Trey is the first to fall victim and chaos ensues as the other friends scramble to escape. However, Three Finger's rampage leaves them mutilated one by one, forcing Alex to flee into the depths of the dark forest. The narrative picks up at Grafton Penitentiary, where correctional officer Nate is preparing for his final day on duty before heading to law school. He is tasked with overseeing a secret prisoner transfer to Hazleton Prison, a perilous operation that involves a slew of dangerous inmates including the cunning gang leader Carlo Chavez, a violent thug named Floyd, car thief Crawford, ex-Marine Brandon, and U.S. Marshal Juarez, who infiltrates the inmates for espionage purposes. The tension escalates when the warden alerts Ned about potential breakout attempts by Chavez's gang, creating an atmosphere filled with foreboding as the transfer bus departs under the cover of darkness. Mid-journey, a chilling event occurs as a tow truck deliberately rams the bus, sending it crashing into the forest. As devastation unfolds, Three Finger seizes the opportunity, launching an attack that culminates with the fatal shooting of the bus driver. In the ensuing chaos, Chavez seizes control by killing one of the guards and acquiring a firearm, firmly establishing himself as the group's leader. Nate and Juarez fight to regain order, but the situation spirals rapidly into disarray. As the surviving prisoners abscond into the woods, the sound of screams echoes from the wreckage, indicating that Three Finger is mercilessly slaughtering the remaining guards, amplifying the sense of dread and paranoia within the group of prisoners. Tension erupts as distrust grows amongst them, leading to a series of brutal killings, either instigated by Three Finger or their own paranoia. A frantic struggle for survival ensues, pushing them to the brink as they confront the horrific reality of their situation. The group encounters an abandoned armored truck deep in the woods, and upon breaking open its doors, they discover bags filled with cash. This discovery prompts Chavez to insist that everyone must carry money, including Nate and Juarez. However, this decision leads them into a moral dilemma between their survival instincts and their greed. Nate warns the group that the police will search for them by morning, heightening the urgency of their situation. As the group moves slowly, encumbered by the heavy bags of money, they find themselves increasingly paranoid. Crawford voices his concerns about being watched, but Floyd dismisses his fears. Out of nowhere, an arrow strikes Crawford, killing him instantly, shot by the ruthless Three Finger. Panic ensues, causing the group to scatter in terror. As they regroup, Three Finger sets another deadly trap, narrowly missing Chavez with a swinging blade. Despite Nate's urging to abandon the money and escape, Chavez stubbornly refuses, and they continue on, now heavy with paranoia and fatigue. Meanwhile, Alex, who has been hiding, observes the group from a distance. Upon spotting Nate, she cautiously approaches and warns them about Three Finger, explaining how he killed her friends. While Floyd and Chavez mock her account, Brandon believes her, leading to rising tensions as they argue over whether to proceed or retreat. Nate decides to lead the remaining members to a fire watchtower, seeking a means to call for help. However, to their horror, they find that the watchtower has burnt down, leaving them without any communication tools. In a moment of desperation, Chavez blames Nate for their dire situation, threatening him while Floyd turns his aggression towards Alex, attempting to assault her. She fiercely fights back, stabbing him in the leg, only for Chavez to knock Floyd out, emphasizing the need for unity amidst the chaos. Unbeknownst to them, Three Finger observes their turmoil from afar. As tensions mount, Floyd awakens, increasingly furious at Chavez. A deadly confrontation ensues where Chavez shoots Floyd first as he attempts to retaliate. With rising fear of their own mortality, Brandon and Juarez betray Chavez, recognizing the imminent threat he poses. Juarez's attack leads to his gruesome death at the hands of Chavez, leaving only Nate, Alex, Brandon, and Chavez. In the wake of betrayal, Nate pleads with Chavez to abandon the money to increase their chances for survival, but he refuses, continuing to prioritize the cash over their lives. Exhaustion overwhelms Alex, and despite Nate and Brandon's insistence on allowing her to rest, Chavez remains resolute against letting her go. The group's fate hangs in a precarious balance as they face the consequences of their choices. In Wrong Turn 3, Left for Dead, devastating events unfold as Three Finger sets a deadly trap for Brandon, impaling him with a spiked tree. Meanwhile, Nate and Alex race into the trees to escape their lurking threat. As the story progresses, Chavez finds himself alone and resolute in guarding the money. He encounters Three Finger in a fierce hand-to-hand combat that sees Chavez inflicting injuries on the mutant, but ultimately he is overpowered. The chilling climax of their altercation culminates with Three Finger beheading Chavez, leaving his body grotesquely suspended. Nate and Alex finally emerge from the forest onto a seemingly safe road leading out, only to be confronted by Three Finger once more for a final confrontation. In a desperate struggle for survival, Nate shoves a metal rod into Three Finger's chest, an act of defiance that leads the mutant to collapse into a nearby fire, reducing him to ashes as he burns to death. This moment offers a glimmer of hope. Nate and Alex deem themselves survivors and are promptly rescued by the police. They recount their harrowing tale while search teams comb the forest for any remaining threats. Believing they have closed the chapter on their horrifying ordeal, Nate returns home seeking comfort in normalcy. However, the night turns sinister as Chavez's gang ambushes him. In a shocking twist, just as Chavez is poised to end Nate's life, a new menace emerges, a young mutant, the son of Three Finger, who mercilessly slaughters the gang, leaving Nate in utter shock. This brutal ending underscores the relentless cycle of violence, indicating that the horror is far from over. Ultimately, Wrong Turn 3 combines elements of prison break action with the raw terror of rural horror. The narrative spotlights the destructive greed of convicts, which makes them vulnerable to the lurking horrors represented by Three Finger. Nate's desperate fight for survival propels the tension throughout, while the twist signifies that the nightmare may persist, setting the stage for future installations in the series. The concluding events not only heighten the suspense but solidify the film's commentary on the inescapable nature of violence, leaving audiences with a chilling reminder that in the world of Wrong Turn, danger always lurks round the corner. If you enjoy watching this video, then subscribe to Angel Recaps for the latest movies explanation.